Well, hello, minions. It's Tuesday. Time to assemble. Come on in and join me, everyone. I can see there's some people here already. Thanks for stopping in on a Tuesday. Before I start with greetings, I just want to throw out a couple of thank yous. If you are watching live, thank you, whether you participate in chat or not. If you are a replay watcher, thank you as well. If you're just listening, awesome. Glad to have you here. Got plenty to cover. There will be a special guest tonight. You do not want to miss it. This is someone who is always entertaining. All right, so let's start out with some greetings. We got just Nate in the house. One of my minions here, he says, hello, everyone. I'll be in the background listening while I'm working. Looking forward to this one. Well, thanks, Nate. Always good to have you here. David Iverson is here, throwing out some greetings. My man Bama Ninja's in the house, throwing up the bananas. Our sort of channel mascot emoji there. He says minions carry knives and beat up. Marcos Gamma is here too, throwing out some love for brother Jason Brown, who none of us will ever forget. Oreo Dave is in here too. Thanks, Dave, for showing up. Appreciate that. Some other greetings going on there. I like it. Michael Morgan, one of my main moderators, is here. He says, minions, assemble. Yes, please. Blaze Burgers in house said, what's going on? Rust pattern Damascus blades. Driving but listening. Thank you, Blaze. Appreciate that. Some other greetings going on. Hungry Bird has joined the live stream tonight. Good evening, all. Good evening to you. Thanks for stopping by. It's been a long week at work, and I'm battling a little bit of, I think, allergies. It's making me a little stuffy. Daily Knife number 2 says hello. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. The Sentience here says, looking good, my man. Thank you. Thank you. I feel pretty good today, other than being a little stuffy. Brashear Bear's in the house. Just continued prayers for Mrs. E and Chat and Jessica Alba, just in case. Wouldn't want anything to happen to Jessica Alba. Nizzi's doing very good. She's got the big surgery coming up on the 27th, but she's doing good. She's feeling better every day post her chemo sessions. Her hair's growing back. It's actually slightly, just a teensy weensy bit longer than mine. So good for her. Hair's coming back. That's always a good thing. Ed Harrison has joined us in the lair. Happy Tuesday, Eionan's Edge, and everyone be up forever. I totally agree. Keep using that hashtag. David Neal's here. Says, greetings from New Zealand. I didn't realize you were from New Zealand. I knew you weren't in the US. I didn't know New Zealand was where you were viewing from, but man, thank you. You're all the way around the world from us. So I highly appreciate you being here, David. Highly. Who else we got in here? Daily Knives there, David Neal, Just Josh. Oh my God. Josh, how the heck are you, my man? Where did he go? That's not him. Where did it go? I skipped it right there. He says, hey, Dad. What's up, my adopted son? How are you, my friend? I'm still willing to buy you breakfast or lunch sometime. You got to get with me. We'll get together and do that. All right. I know you're living back here in Tucson, so let's make that happen. See what else we got going on. Honey Bear's in the house. The Brashear Bear's here. Bearded Doom is in the house as well. You guys are going to stick around. This is going to be a very good episode, let me tell you. All right, I'm currently streaming my game, so I just wanted to say hi's and I hope you and the missus are well. Much love. Yep, we're doing pretty good. She's recovering from chemo and waiting on surgery at the end of the month, Josh. Miss you up there at the course. You know, you should hit us up sometime in the summer when open play starts, and we'll get you up there and we'll all get together and play golf one day. That'll be a lot of fun. And like I said, breakfast or lunch will be on me. Let's see what else we got going on here. Dawn Raby is in the house. She says, hello, everyone. Another minion has checked in to the Minions Lair. I love seeing all these bananas up there. That's awesome. That's us, bananas. Let's see what else we got going on here. Javon is in the house too. He says, "Howdy, Odin the tribe, driving back into town. Hello, and love to y'all. Thank you, sir, for listening while you drive." Hungry Bird says, "I forgot banana." That's okay. So while chat's filling up, I'll go over a couple of quick things with you. There will be a guest tonight. A lot of you know this person. Always entertaining. There will be a 5 and 5. There might be more than 5, but there'll be 5 and 5 tonight. Um, a couple little things I'm going to cover with you. The live stream scheduling for the rest of this month. Some news on the prizes. If you look behind me on the counter right there, all those black envelopes and those 3, 4, actually, five boxes. 2 of them are pretty big. Those are all the prize giveaways. They're all packed up and labeled and ready to go to the post office tomorrow morning. I wanted to get them over there today, but then I got all this stuff done and got everything boxed up and labeled and ready to go. And I realized I only had like less than an hour before the live stream. So I decided I'll send all that stuff out tomorrow. We got a chat topic. We got story time. We got a lot of things going on here tonight. So I think you guys are going to have a good time. I think it's going to be enjoyable. And I think you will enjoy my guest as well. Oreo Dave said playing Guardians of the Galaxy while listening and laughing. It's all right, my man. That's cool. Listening's perfectly fine. Satisfaction. The Squirrel King is in the house. He has joined us here in the Minions Lair, along with his little crack squirrel. So glad to have you here, Matt, as always. Looking forward to the meetup on the 21st. Should be a good time. Looks like a really cool place for us to meet. I think we'll have a good time. Native Wild Man is in the house. What's up, Sean? Leland Phil is here. So what's up, everyone? Fixing kayaks while listening. That's all right, brother. Listening's perfectly fine. Sam Goins in here as well. Good to see you, Sam. Again, we'll see you on the 24th, I hope. Matt says I lost my mouse pad. I stole the one from downstairs in the garage to use up here, and then I go down there to game sometimes, and I don't have a mouse pad, so that sucks. Lord Needham joined us tonight. Well, thank you, sir, for coming in. He says, "Oh, yeah, I'm driving home, so just lurking along." That's okay, man. I appreciate you being in here and listening. We'll get things underway here in a few minutes. We got plenty of people in here right now, so here's what I would like to do. Okay, since it's my live stream, I would like to start pocket checks. Okay, but I like to a lot of times throw in a little curveball with pocket checks. So I want you to put up your pocket checks, but I'd also like you to tell me what was your very first knife? What was the very first knife you ever possessed, whether it was given to you as a gift or you bought it or whatever? What was your very first knife? And most of you know what mine is, and I'll tell you when I show you what my pocket check was for today, but or my pocket carry. But throw up your pocket checks and let me know what your very first knife that you ever owned was. Interested to see what a lot of people's first knives were. I asked this question once, but it was pretty much almost a year ago. It was one of the first lives I ever did. So I'd like to know what you guys got for the very first knife that you ever had. Lots of greetings going on. I dig it. Sharp Guy ATX is in here as well. So that's good. Again, if you cannot view, behind me on the kitchen counter is all of the holiday celebration prizes. I call them presents. All of the holiday celebration presents. They are all boxed, packaged, labeled, and ready to go out to the winners. That will be tomorrow. I will be going to the post office right after breakfast tomorrow with that big giant stack of stuff that's behind me on the counter. They're going to absolutely love seeing me because I've got all that stuff right there to ship out. And that's not everything I have to ship. That's just all the prize stuff. So there's like 4 other packages of Mrs. Edge's over here on the floor that have to get shipped out tomorrow as well. But that stuff will all be going out tomorrow. Never fear, you will. Your winnings from the holiday celebration will be en route to you sometime tomorrow. Don says, I almost forgot the thumbs up. That's right. There's 29 people here in the stream and 21 likes. So a few of you are slacking. I know there's some people listening and not actually not actually here in the live stream. So that's cool. Just don't forget to hit the like button for me when you get a chance. Knife Nuts here as well. He says, "Hey everyone, I couldn't help but notice on the way I'm not weigh in. Everyone has ticked that like button. Yes, there you go. There you go. And hopefully we'll start seeing some pocket checks over here first. So let's see. The first person in with a pocket check, I think is Oreo Dave. Oreo Dave, first in with a pocket check. I'm gonna start acknowledging people who get it up first. Orion Scorpio, awesome, awesome knife. Own one. And first production Kershaw Shallot. Very cool. Satisfaction. First was a buck 119. Today was the Asher Nomad 3.0 and the MBK slayback on accident since I left it in the car. Well, anything by Ray is great. I mean, even um the Kaiser version of that knife is pretty amazing, right? So the MBK is, just an even nicer version of the same knife. But yes, amazing. Anything that Ray Laconico designs, I'm in on. Urban Woodsman's dad gave me a little Swiss Army knife classic that he dulled the blade on when I was 5. Okay, well, dulling the blade. I would have rather let you cut yourself, and you would have learned a lesson, and you still had a sharp knife. Sam Goen says, current Spyderco Shaman, first knife I remember was a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. A lot of people get Swiss Army knives for their first knife. Mine was a Sears Craftsman Barlow single blade. Had the one clip point blade, right? That's all it had. That was my very first knife. Brand new American. Sorry. My mind is a little slow today. Some folder that I closed my finger on as a kid. Ouch. I never cut myself when I was a kid with a knife, but I did cut myself with an X-Acto blade. I was trying to trim a model battleship. It's actually the Bismarck. And I was trying to trim some shavings off of it. And I turned it around and I went like this to shave it. And I sliced the end of my finger open with an X-Acto blade. Needless to say, I had to get stitches for that. It wouldn't stop bleeding. And I went into the emergency room with my hand up here on top of my head like this. My finger was bleeding. Let's see what else we got going on here. We got a little 3-blade knife with the Tough Nut logo on it. Was his first one. The Daily Knife number 2 says he's carrying his Riot Exo. Ooh, sorry, folks. Been a few nights sleeping. My first knife was an assisted old timer, still somewhat reliable somehow. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Nice kitchen. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much. Throwing out some love for my kitchen. That's where all the magic happens when we cook back there. We keep the counters clean so that on Tuesday nights we can lay out all our taco fixings and I can make tacos. Mrs. Edge and I can have tacos after we finish live streams. It's like a tradition now. Tacos and beer, right? What's better than that? Hungry Bird says my first knife was a case from my father, currently with a Demco 20.5 expanded aluminum scales and a carbon fiber penguin. Very nice. The Demco 20.5 is such a unique knife in the community, and the lockup on it, I think, is why a lot of people buy it and modify it, and make it, try to put better scales on it. Stuff. Oh, sorry, so very sorry. But anyway, that's a very cool knife. I've got a 20.5 just because I wanted to own one because of the lockup system. So I've never gotten around to modding it other than putting a Lynch Northwest deep carry clip on it, which is much preferable to that crappy clip that they give you on it. Yeah, people are fighting over eggs. They're going, yeah, there's been an egg shortage out. Even out here in Arizona, I go to the store and it says due to an egg shortage nationwide. Um, you pretty much take whatever brand you can get right now. They don't really have a lot. That's what I do miss about having a coop and a good sized flock of laying hens was we always had eggs. We had more eggs than we knew what to do with them. We would give them to our neighbors a lot of times or our family members. So that's something we keep considering. It is a little tougher to keep hens, chickens, hens, whatever you want to call them, laying hens alive and comfortable out here in Arizona in the summertime. But if the egg thing keeps going the way it's going, we may end up getting chickens again someday soon. You never know. Let's see. Dawn says Pocket Check is the Sativian ST-139. It's the first knife, one of those little fake Swiss Army knives was her first knife. Yeah, a lot of people got those, right? A lot of traditional type folding knives end up being the first knife that people get. Uh, a chicken shortage is next. So what I heard, I don't know how true this is, but I heard that there was a couple, one or two of the major manufacturers had some kind of avian sickness that went around through some of these production egg laying chickens, and they had to destroy a large portion of their flock and get new birds in. So when that happens, obviously, if you're getting young birds that are just reaching egg laying ability, they don't lay as much. You don't get as many eggs per week, say for instance, out of those. If that is the case, then that it should come back around. The production should begin to pick up and go back upward again. But who knows how long that'll take? Or maybe it's just their way of trying to control the market and charge more for less eggs. You decide. Honey Bear says transparent knives, Demco 8020.5. So that's a nice one. Little Native, Slip It, a Ray Light Thai Pineapple. My first knife was a very small stainless steel LL Bean lockback. A little small now, but I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm running so much, but it fit my 4-year-old hand just right. Not sure, man. Maybe all that caffeine and sugar I had today wore off. Ah, let's see. Michael Morgan, Mimo, moderator extraordinaire, says today's carry is the Knife Center exclusive Macarta Revo Ness. My first knife was some budgety faux stag plastic handled 5-inch or so clip point. Broke it throwing it at trees. That's pretty funny. Country Boy 1976 is in the house. Another Minions checked in here for duty and service at the lair. Hello, sir. Garen Gatorlope is also here. Another one of the holiday winners. Again, that stuff is behind me on the counter. Right, y'all. There's all the holiday goodies right there. All the envelopes for the small ones, boxes, 4 or 5 boxes on the counter there for all the big ones. That's all going to the post office tomorrow. Let's see what else we got going on here. Native Wild Man. Native Wild Man. My man, my friend. Benchmade Barrage, Civivi Brazen, Uncle Jed Custom, nice. Case Mini Texas Toothpick, which is spruce scales, very cool. And his first knife was a Stockman. I don't remember the brand from my grandfather. I can't understand why I'm yawning so much today, man. It's not like I'm bored. This is cool. I'm having fun. I'm here with all you guys and gals. Let's see who is next. Ed Harrison is next. He says, first knife was an old timer's and I lost it and found it years later in my backyard. I guess you know what it looked like. Yeah, old and rusty, probably. Although, I don't know. Some of those knives hold up pretty well. Lone Wolf. How the heck are you doing, sir? I hope you're doing better. I hope you're starting to feel better as well. He said, sorry I'm late. Hello, everyone. Good to have you here as always. Don't forget to hit the like button for me, people. There's like 39 people in the stream right now. CPM's carrying a limited edition Shurigurov F3 Aquatic. Very cool knife. The shows are really sexy knives anyway. Garen Gatorlope says, my first knives were an Imperial fishing knife. Okay, cool. Like that. Urban Woodsman is carrying a Spyderco Capara and an EMP EDC Thick Boy. Like that pairing. I do. That sounds like a good pairing, actually. Lots of greetings going out to people. Oh, Garen says he's got, and a Buck Stockman he's got. Okay, gotcha. Sounds good. Brashear Bear is carrying a Cold Steel Ultimate Hunter CTX XHP. That's good steel, man. There's nothing wrong with that stuff. And his first knife was a Buck Stockman from his grandpa in 1984. Joe Kasprick says, Eionan, that was very much accepted when we were kids, but not in today's society at all. Shake my head at these kids. Yes, to- totally. I agree. I agree. I don't have to mention any names, but I hired somebody who's not really a kid, 30 years old, to work for me up at the golf course. He seemed like he really needed a job and he really wanted to be there. He was doing fine. And he ghosted us. For you old farts in here that don't know what it is, younger people use that term. Sorry, they use the term ghosted as another way to say he no call, no showed. Haven't heard from him, won't answer any of our texts or phone calls, and hasn't come back to work. Luckily, I just hired somebody else that was going to work less hours, but now they're going to get those hours too. So be it. But I just don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand the mentality these days behind people. They want a job, but then they don't want to show up for work. So really, not going to go any further down that rabbit hole. Let's see what Dawn says. Currently has a band-aid on from my certificate. Yeah, well, any knife that's sharp can bite you. Doesn't have to be expensive to do that. David Iverson's got the Hinder XM 18, 3.5 Bowie, Jack Wolf Little Bro with natural micarta. That's a very nice knife. A Baby B, a Microtech UTX 70 Hell. Nice carry, David. Nice carry. By the way, that second biggest box over there on the counter, I believe, is yours. The slightly taller one was the second grand prize. Not necessarily there's more stuff in it, just the way that the stuff fit into the box. Took a lot longer than I thought to package all that, get all the labels and stuff made. I wasn't sure how I thought it would be faster, and it took me a little more time to do. He doesn't know what's wrong. Sending for MRIs, possibly neurosurgeon. Oh, they're asking about your health. Well, that's not good. I hope they can figure it out, Lone Wolf. Let's see. The Sentient says Coat Bulldog LT. My first was a cold steel tie light. Okay, got it. Garen says I spotted a knife I want to get. It's a Geotech number 51. Geotech number 51. I'm gonna have, well, hold on a second. I want to go look that up. I want to know what that is. If I can find it. Geotech hunting and bushcraft survival knives. Welcome to our knives. Oh boy, they got a cool sounding website. Oh, really ominous. Can you guys hear this? That's their website. Shows backcountry areas. I dig it. Number 51 though, huh? Wow. 30. I don't see a 51. Their website only goes from 1 to 39. Interesting. I give, I give him I give him props for the website. The music on the website makes you excited, makes you want to like go out and like in the wild with like a knife attached to the end of a spear or something and like attack something. So I dig it. Let's see. Manix 2 for Bama Ninja, Elementum, Casta, and a CRKT Spew for a neck knife, and bananas. Don't be afraid to spam the bananas, guys. It's okay. Carrying the mini sheepdog Black Micarta, just Nate. And his first knife was a black and orange slip joint from an auto parts store. A lot of people's first knives are cheap ones. Unless you think somebody's going to love knives, it's really hard to give somebody an expensive knife for gift, right? Now, it's different if you're giving knives to somebody that you know is a knife lover, right? If you know somebody's into knives and into collecting knives, easy, right? There's lots of knives you can find for somebody like that. But if you don't really know if somebody's going to carry a knife and like a knife, whoops, sorry, I just whacked my camera. It's awfully hard to want to give somebody, a pretty expensive knife as a gift, right? Joe Kasperg says, "Catfish, how's it going, brother? I hope you're well. Any fishing lately?" I'm not sure who he's talking to up top here, but Knife Nut said, "Today, the Rainier Base Camp, first one to give me stitches." And an Ironwood Finch Chernobyl ant. The next Finch I think I'm going to buy is the Lucky 13, but the Chernobyl ant is definitely in the running for one of the next Finch knives I buy as well. But it'll probably be Lucky 13 because I'm looking for a smaller, more compact Finch. First knife I bought myself was, I don't even know how to pronounce that, a Gurkha Kukri? Gurkha Kukri? Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but I like the name. It's fucking hard to pronounce, right? Urban Woodsman. I was walking around the backyard in woods with a machete by the time I was 7. I had handled some other knives. I had even handled a small hatchet when I was young before I got a knife under my dad's supervision, obviously. But I was just shy of 10, I think, when I got that first knife from him. It was right around that time. So for the sake of conversation, we'll say 10. Sam Goen says, "Agree on the clip for the 20.5. Yeah, the stock clip that comes on it is so poorly designed. The Lynch Northwest clip is definitely the best clip for that knife, hands down." David Iverson, "My first knife was a Barlow." Me too. My grandfather gave me at 7 to whittle while we were filling water tanks for the cows. There you go. Right. And a slip joint is not necessarily the knife I would choose. A non-locking slip joint is not the knife I would choose to give to somebody as their first knife. It just isn't. I would want some kind of back lock, or, you know, whatever. But that just seems to be the knife that a lot of people end up with here. Country Boy says eggs here are $6 a dozen. They were super cheap for a while here in Arizona, but now they're back up in that range, around $5 a dozen, I think, somewhere in that vicinity. Since I do all the shopping, I pay a lot more attention to what things cost. You get a list from Mrs. Edge, and she goes, "I need all this stuff," and I just go to the store and pick it up for her. So let's see. Blazeburger, at a gas station carrying the Nimble X. My very first knife was a Play-Doh Swiss Army knife. I was hooked at age 4. Yeah, you've had the addiction for a long time. Urban Woodsman is splitting some wood with a maul and sledgehammer. Oh, splitting wood and with a maul and sledgehammer when I was 9. That was your first experience, yeah. I was kind of a scrawny kid until I got to be around 13, and I started to fill out a little more. Dawn says, "Yes, a lot of birds destroyed due to avian influenza, and there were a lot of limits on buying poultry, but I don't believe that's the current egg. I believe that's the current egg cost." Yeah, you could be right. It might not have anything to do with the current cost of eggs or the current shortage, but I remember reading about them having to destroy thousands and thousands of laying hens and a couple of plants, and they obviously it's not like throwing out an old machine and plugging in a new one, right? It takes birds time to to get to the point where they're laying eggs consistently. Yeah, see, bird flu outbreak in Iowa caused the destruction of 80% of layers. So there you go. So you lose 80% of your production facility. You don't have as many eggs to hand out. And they start charging more and more for eggs all the time. Good to see you in the chat as always, Michael Morgan. Of course. Of course. Mimo, one of my first 2 moderators. By the way, I just want to throw this out there in case he happens to listen or hear from somebody in the community. Want to throw some love out to Gonzo. He's taken an extended break from the knife community. He's not going away for good. A lot of you might be wondering why you haven't seen him around lately. He's doing okay, as far as I know. I have heard from him before and after the holiday, and hopefully he'll be back when he's ready. But let's all throw some love and some thoughts out for Brother Gonzo, and hope that he rejoins us soon. I do miss him. I miss having him around. So, Gonzo, if you hear this or you see this, please know we're thinking of you, brother. We love you, and we hope you're back with the community as soon as you're ready. A friend out in California was telling me 18 pack of eggs is going for 20. I believe that. We escaped California, Stan. I believe that eggs are super expensive in a lot of other states. Yeah, I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous, right? And me, I love eggs. I have eggs almost every morning, just about, right? So kids got me sick over the last 2 days, been coughing up a storm. Yeah, I've been getting hit with allergies. We had a bunch of rain here out in Arizona, and it really bloomed out all the allergens. My first knife was a 2-blade Barlow. It was my 5th birthday gift. Some of you guys got knives really young. $5.99 a dozen here. Damn. Country boy, Benchmade, bug out. Bug out. Just bug the out. All right, let's see. Um, $4.99 a dozen yesterday. Lucky we get eggs from my brother's farm. I know that's what I miss about having my own laying hens. Actually, it's the highest producers of eggs, Iowa. Okay, didn't know that. Native Wild Man says I cut myself yesterday with my Benchmade barrage barely made contact. Yeah, take much with a sharp knife, man. Neil McKenzie, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. So I've been out of touch a little bit lately. I've been working hard and trying to keep everything afloat here at home with Mrs. Edge and all the other stuff I have going on. Urban says drank 2/3 of a bottle of NyQuil already and sucking on cough drops every 40 minutes. Still had to get shit done. It's just very rare that I crash when I get sick. I do my best to press through it. I do too. Sometimes though, you just gotta not do that. Otherwise you won't get better. It just takes even longer. But I understand sometimes you got obligations, right? It's like going to work, right? As long as you're not going to make everybody else sick if you don't feel well, so you got to go to work. You got to earn it. You got to earn the paycheck. All right, so guys, I'm going to look through a few more comments, and then I would like to get our guest on. All right, I would like to get our guest on and get that part of the show going because we're about 30 minutes in. Mike Jernak says my first knife was an old timer. It had it 20 years. Okay, cool. Cool. 20 years is a long time to keep a knife. It's a long time. Urban Woodsman was paying attention to football championship game. Didn't notice till I saw my email notification. Somebody sent you something nice. That's cool. Bearded Doom, the Finch reciprocity is phenomenal. Yes, it is. It definitely is. So speaking of that, while we're holding on here for just a few minutes for my guests, let me show you a couple of knives I got recently. So this I'm going to be reviewing this very soon. This is a Sativian. This is the ST-149 in 14C28N. It comes with 3 different burlap micarta scales. They make a brown one, a green one, and this is the black one, which is basically just the brown micarta dyed with black. Really nice, really cool knife. And it's all 14C28, and it's got a Benchmade arrow style pocket clip on the back of it. This, believe it or not, is a semi clamshell design. The whole knife's clamshelled except for the where the pivot goes through to attach the blade. Talk more about that when I review it. But check this out. Watch this knife. Right? We'll break the detent right there. Freaking thing fall closed. It's absolutely crazy how good some of these Sativian knives are for the price. No detent lash, no blade lash on it, forward or backward or up or down. It is only on steel bearings. I did take the knife apart to clean when I got it because some of the Sativians tend to be a little gunky. It worked fine, but I just did that because I wanted to. But man, this is an interesting knife. So I got this recently. And is my guest back? Is he back? I see him milling around there. And then I also got, yeah, I also got speaking of, over Christmas, I got a Finch Reciprocity in shredded carbon fiber. Super cool knife. Very, very cool. So we can get that thing to zoom in. There you go. Looky, huh? Isn't that nice? Bolster lock. I fucking love it. It's so awesome. I love it. There we go. There we go. Look at that, huh? Beautiful. Just beautiful knives. And then one of you, one of you minions was kind enough to send in a knife that I'm going to review. Then I'm going to give it away. We have a Sativian here. This is the ST. Gosh, now what is it? The 139. This comes in a whole bunch of different handle colors. 14C28N blade. Huge finger choil on this thing. The finger choil on this thing's monstrous. So if you got big hands, you could still hold on to this knife. Really cool little knife. And this was very graciously, it's a brand new knife, came right in the box, mailed right to my house, never used, was donated by Dawn Ray. So thank you, Dawn. When I'm done reviewing this knife in a handful of weeks, I will do a giveaway, and I will give somebody on the channel this really cool little Sativian. And like I said, it's a cool little knife. It's got a weird looking clip, but I put it in and out of my pocket a few times, and it seems to be pretty good. So look for a full review coming up on this in the next few weeks as well. Thank you, Dawn. All right, I think it's time to get my guest on the screen here. As soon as they get through petting their dogs, I think I will get them on screen and we will get going. Country Boy says, I just got home from work. Sorry, I haven't seen everyone's comments, just been listening, but I'll be on the computer in a few. Okay, well, you got time still, buddy. You got time. There's a ton of comments. I'm going to probably skip through a few of these simply because, yes, we are ready, sir. Have a seat. Because I would like, there's Bluminati Ninja. Woohoo, my man. I hope you guys enjoyed the review of the CJRB Ruffian because the Illuminati sent me that knife. Thank you, sir. All right. So I'm going to bring on our special guest for today in 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Well, hello there.
What's
Hi
up?
there, big fella.
What's up, dude?
Oh, the dogs are going to go nuts.
Oh, yeah. Spirit of Doom is joining us today. Josh Branson. I bet it's Spirit of Doom. It looks amazing.
Anytime I talk, my dogs are like, you're not allowed to talk without us talking.
There you go.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine, man. You sound good.
Perfect.
For sure.
So I've been sitting over here sorting the pile.
Yeah. Yeah, here's Richard Kasner says, Doom!
Right.
Bama's got the bananas up there. Yep. So anyway, folks, I'm gonna in just a moment or two here, I'm gonna give Doom the bigify, and I'm gonna let him have the main screen, and he's gonna show off some knives. Well, at least 5, but you can obviously show us more. Everyone knows Doom has a little bit different way of quantifying his knife library. It's a rather large pile of knives that he randomly digs through and finds whatever suits his fancy. At least that's the way I believe it to be.
You are spot on. I've been sitting here for the past 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorting the pile into smaller piles and then sorting those piles into piles that are worth talking about for one reason or another. And I wound up with just more piles. So hang on. I'll let you people in on what I'm talking about here. There's pile. There's remnant pile.
Yep.
There's the maybe talk about pile. There's another pile. So when I say I got the piles, I'm being 100% serious that
And
my
he's
knives are kept in
and just to
piles.
be clear, when he says piles, he's talking about knives. We're not talking about the semi-dysentery type of thing that you get.
Oh
He
boy.
might have had that at one point in his life too, but not now.
But yeah, that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
That's right. Yeah. Knife Nut says organized by the doodads.
I do actually have a pile over here that is specifically knives that I modded doodads into.
Oh, that's cool. Very, very cool. So, hey, man, I just realized too, this is the first time I've ever had you on.
It
Like, we've
is.
talked about having you on a couple times, but just hasn't worked out. So, I kind of forgot to reach out to some people over the last week or two that I wanted to get on the live stream, and then I was like, "Hey, you know what? I've been meaning to have Doom on. I wonder if he's available today." So it's kind of like a last minute thing, but hey, he was
It
gracious enough
worked.
to
It
come on.
worked. So
Yeah, it worked. So cool. Yep. So what else? Josh says you are judged by your doodad. Okay.
this is
You can be judged by your doodad.
this is the way. This is the way.
Absolutely.
Like
So
my
here's what I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna bigify you. I'm gonna let you have the stage. You can roll in there and show folks whatever you feel like showing them as far as knives go or EDC gear. And we'll talk about that for the next little bit, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. I'd love to keep you around for the chat and a few other things I have coming up after, if that's all
Yeah, no
right.
problem, man. No
All
problem.
right, cool. Cool. It just says Doom is the only guest one needs to be complete. I agree. I'm glad to have him here, man. I love it. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna put you solo. There you go.
All
That
right,
is you. Lay it on me, man. Lay it on me.
front and center. So I've been sitting here trying to figure out where I'm going to go with this, and I decided that I would start. Well, first off, I didn't do a pocket check because I didn't know how many people knew I was the one coming on or not. So I'll start off with my pocket check, which is my brand new little box cutter. This is the only thing I carried today. It is a D-Rocket and Black Widow Knife Works design. It just showed up today. So that's the only thing I've had in my pocket. I don't know if you can see. It's got a Damascus box cutter blade on it, and the
I
thing
see
is
it. Yep.
insanity. So I wanted to carry that today. I obviously put a doodad on it because I got to put a doodad on everything. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, that was my only carry today. I was in the house most of the day, and then I went to the VA, so I couldn't have big chungus hanging out of my pocket. But so you talked about earlier what our first knife ever was. And for me, I grew up out in the sticks in upstate New York, back when kids were allowed to roam from sun up to sundown. And I found myself this big old buck lockback out in the woods, and the tip was broken off probably about a half inch. And I took that thing home and I cleaned it up and I carried it for years and years and years. And then it really wasn't until about 20 years ago I bought a Benchmade Griptilian, which is somewhere in the pile here. I don't
Mhm.
know. But I got an old whatever. Y'all know it. Y'all know what a Benchmade Griptilian looks like. So this
Right.
thing was it was a Tonto, one of the original Mel Purdue designs with a partially serrated blade, and it's been sharpened on a coffee mug so many times because I've never owned a real sharpener. It's been sharpened on a coffee mug so many times that there's hardly any serrations left. But moving from there, I carried that one for a long, long time up until I went into the army. And this was given to me by one of my best friends. What is, I think it's a SOCOM Alpha. Yeah, SOCOM Elite, excuse me, automatic. And I carried this one as well as well, there wasn't a doodad on it at the time. Uh,
Gotcha.
this Gerber
Oh, the oh
was my
06.
military issue.
Yep.
So these two automatics were my rotation through 7.5 years in the army, 2 tours in Afghanistan. Those were the knives that I kept by my side in case anything went sideways and I needed a blade.
Mm-hmm.
I got out of the military and I wasn't, I never really got into the whole collecting knives thing until a friend of mine who I met through the military, he was out as well, and he decided he wanted to try his hands at making. So this is a one-off.
Oh,
We call it the Phoenix. It's got this kind of dragon scale.
yeah, yeah.
D2
Cool.
blade
Handles.
steel. Sharpening job is a little janky, but I mean he was learning. Hollow,
Yeah, yeah.
compound grind, hollow, and then real stabby. It's a thick boy, and he made this for me during a time in my life that I was having. I was having a really hard time. I just gotten out of the military. I was broken. I was dealing with the whole VA, trying to get my health care in check, and
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was coming or going, to be honest with you. And the spine of this blade, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's kind of
Oh, it's a big
probably
fat one. Yeah.
probably not. But the spine of the blade is
You
etched
can see it.
from death
Okay.
comes life, as in
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah, I can see
phoenix.
that. Yeah.
And I was losing a lot of friends at that point. Anybody who's been in the military knows, unfortunately, that veteran suicide is a very real thing. And I was losing a lot of friends, and I was in a really bad place. And he made me this knife, and that was, from death comes life, rise like the phoenix. So that's the knife that I carry for the most part time I'm out on the motorcycle. And
Okay.
it's got a lot of meaning behind it, and I love that knife very
Yep.
much.
And well, not only that, with a fixed blade, when you draw it out of the sheath, it's going to work no matter what. There's no deploying it. There's no worrying about whether you're right. You failed the knife or whatever. If you take it out, it's ready to go. So that's always a nice thing when
Right.
especially when you're out and about. So
Yeah, and I don't know what it's like where you guys all live, but down here I'm in Central Florida, right by Orlando, right on we call it the human trafficking highway. Unfortunately, I-95 is basically the route that everybody runs their trafficked humans on, and because of that, we have a lot of gangs and clubs and so on that are constantly vying for this area. So when I'm out riding and I want to stop, and I carry my fixie with me. It's probably not going to save me if somebody pulls a pew pew, but hey,
right, right,
it's the
right.
best I can do because the government took away my right to carry. So that's a story for another day. So
Story for another day. Yes, I agree.
continuing on from there, these I'm not really going to go super in depth as to who sent them to me. First off, um, whoever tied this doodad is going to get lambasted in a video when I finally get around to doing it, because this thing is absolutely frightening. But I love it because it was a gift. Like I said, I'm not going to say who gave it to me.
It kind of looks like me trying to wrap a Christmas present.
Right?
I
Right.
I can fix cars, motorcycles, golf carts. I know how to repair electronics, but ask me to wrap a Christmas present and it would look like that.
Yeah. So I'm just flashing these up real quick. These are my given to me and have high sentimental value knives. This particular one, I will say, because you've probably all seen the video, this knife was in the Jason Brown raffle, and I put up.
Oh yeah.
I put it's a wee something or other. 900 whatever, but it's got all these crazy, star bolts, and it had to have a special tool along with it. I don't know why my camera's not focusing, but whatever. But that was the one thing out of everything that really just caught my eye with the purple and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And Matisfaction was pulled like second or third on the number, and
Right.
I got a random package in the mail, and I opened it during my unboxing, and I saw it, and I saw that somebody did that for me. I didn't know who at the time. It kind of came out in the wash, but
Mm-hmm.
that was the first time I cried in probably 20 years. So it was a very, very emotional thing. So this knife here, it carries a lot of sentiment behind it
Mm-hmm.
for the
I
fact
understand that.
that it was gifted to me and what it was able to achieve in being gifted to me. Couple other ones. This was gifted to me by a friend of the family, which it's an El Cheapo kind of gas station style knife, but it holds meaning. And this one was also gifted to me. I just put an edge on this one using the new sharpening system that I'll
That's
have.
got some cool scales.
Yeah, they glow, man. I don't know where my little UV light is, but they're like the Chernobyl ant with the crazy glowy stuff. It's got it's like G10 or acrylic. And then, can I publicly say learning knots off YouTube isn't easy? You need to watch some of my videos, man, where I tie the doodads. I make it doom teachable because I was able to learn. If I can learn, you can learn. Because
Yeah.
I still open
Hey,
my
we,
walnuts using a couple of rocks in the backyard.
hey, Josh, we still love you, man. Even if you can't tie a knot, it's okay, man.
Yeah,
We love you anyway.
Josh just outed himself. He's the one that
Yeah, that's what I said. He did up above. He said, yeah, he outed himself. Hey, I can't wrap Christmas presents, and Josh can't tie knots. It's okay,
right, right.
right?
So
We all have our kryptonite, brother.
facts, facts. So I don't know. I mean, it's obviously more than five at this point, but
Sure, throw out a couple more. But you got to end with one that's drool worthy, though. Okay?
I have to end with one that's drool worthy. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I
a
guess
few people here
I'll
expecting
stop
at
with the
least one
story
drool
time. I'll
worthy.
show you my number one favorite and most carried knife is
Ooh,
my
yes.
District 9 Catastrophe. Um,
Yep.
to
That's drool worthy.
to give you guys that aren't familiar with this a size comparison, that's a QSP Penguin. So this knife is about 10 and a half inches overall.
And that knife totally looks straight out of that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks straight out of the movie, man. It looks like you could have had that as a prop in the movie and no one would have batted an eyelash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I also love, I don't know if it'll come through, but it sounds like you're racking a shotgun when you open it.
You can hear it on the screen too.
Yeah, it's got a wicked acoustic to it. So that's my absolute favorite knife for sure.
Uh-huh.
So let's end up with this one. This is a full custom that I had made for me by Ali Bastion out in Australia. It's called the Oblivion. This one has a Magna Cut core boomerang Sanmai blade,
Mm-hmm.
zirconium bolsters with, he calls it Bastanium. He makes his own titanium Damascus that he calls Bastanium. So it's got the pivot
Wow.
collars, the scales, the clip, and then each of these, the pivot is hand filed on both sides.
It looks like the spokes on like a wheel or an umbrella. So it's crazy
Yeah,
looking.
as you move it, it catches light in the different
Yeah.
directions. And then the back spacer is done the same way. It's stainless steel, flamed titanium, and then stainless steel. It's all
Wow.
hand filed.
Oh, yeah.
And then the spine of the blade as well is all hand filed in the same kind of, I don't know what you would call it. It's almost like a,
Yeah, I call it that. I call it like a twisted knurling almost. But anyway,
yeah,
yeah, right.
that's similar. That's a good word. Yeah, I can go with that. But yeah, that is my priciest piece for sure. And
Uh-huh. Well, that's absolutely gorgeous. That is a
not
drool-worthy knife for sure.
it's
No doubt about it.
not my favorite. Definitely not my favorite. I carry it all the time. It lives in the pile with all the other knives. The only
Hmm.
knife I have right now, I guess we'll end with this one and I'll let you take over. The only one that doesn't live in the pile and is still living in the box. Still living in the box is the Shirogorov Aquatic F3.
Yes. Yes, yes,
This is
yes.
a 1 of 100, and it's dangerous on the
I
action.
bet. I bet. I've only handled two Shiros in my knife collecting time, but they were both pretty impressive.
Yeah, I only
So
have two other knives that come anywhere close to the action of this Shiro.
sure.
One, oh, that was a fail, is my Arcane Necronaut V2.
Yep. Although anything from Arcane
Mhm,
is drool worthy. He does not have a bad design.
and the Devo Mash.
Yes. Well, a lot
That
of people a lot of people should be getting those in the mail this week, including me.
Oh, and
And
you
yes,
guys,
there is going to be another production run
yeah, yeah.
in case you didn't get one.
I'll leave you guys with that so you can look forward to what's coming. You know that I'm not one to shy away from calling something a turd if it's a turd. This thing is
Yeah.
amazing. It has the best action I've ever seen on a knife at that price point. Like I said, I have the Damasteel blade, 500-ish bucks, the
Hmm.
Shiro, 1,200 bucks, and this $130 knife is right on par with both of those as far as action goes. I would put probably a $300 price tag on that if I didn't know anything about it.
I think the thing that's been the most impressive about what Kevin and Colin have done over this past, in 2022, say for instance, is that every knife that they've released has been a great design,
Yeah,
right?
they're
Like it's not like I look at one and go, there's been some knives that came out over the last year or so that I've looked at and went, I'll pass on that. But every one of these I look at and I go, I gotta have that.
mhm.
And they haven't really disappointed. So that's been it's a great start for them. And I think that as long as they focus on design and function, they'll continue to have success.
Yeah, I was kind of like, well, I need to move the Shiro before I drop it in the pile. Uh,
Jacob's asking about how you like the Finch reciprocity, which I have one here as well. I just recently got mine about a week ago.
this
And
knife, it's phenomenal.
yeah,
It's
we're gonna
absolutely
go back
phenomenal.
to this last. So yeah, I've got one too, and it's amazing. I cannot say enough about the Finch knives. They're really just
Yeah, I
they're really just so good.
my only gripe about the reciprocity is it needs to be like 6 times bigger.
Oh, yeah, I would agree. If this knife was a lot larger, it would be even more fun. They do have a tendency to make some bigger knives too, but yeah, the
If I could have a
reciprocity.
reciprocity like that, that's what would be
Well,
that's
yeah, you, Maddie, Cue Ball, Satu Dave would all love a reciprocity that size for
oh,
sure.
absolutely.
But yes, Jacob, this is a legit knife. It's not super expensive. It comes in 3 or 4 different scale material colorways, and every one of these I've handled. This is, I think, the third one I've handled. This one, obviously, being my own. They've all been excellent. The actions, the fit and finish on them has all been really, really good. So
I
you won't be
really,
disappointed if you buy one.
this one is also another one of my favorite fifth pocket carries. It's the Finch 1929
Yep,
with the copper
1929.
carbon. Uh, Identical action to the reciprocity, but I like the really kind of old school grandpa's pocket knife vibe that it has,
Mm-hmm.
which is just it's they're really good at doing neo retro is what Finch they're
I agree. I totally agree. And the other knife I feel like fits into that category is the QSP Hedgehog.
yes,
The especially the C. Risner version, the exclusive. The Hedgehog looks like a modern knife, but there you go. And I have two of them. I have that one of those Micarta ones and the C. Risner exclusive,
yeah,
and they're just an amazing little knife. When I reviewed the production sample a few months ago through the Apex list, I was like, they are going to sell a lot of these knives
it
when
is
people get them
it's
in their
killer.
hands and realize how good they are,
It is
for sure.
absolutely killer. Another one that people can look into if they want something a little bit bigger to fill out the hand, which it's not really all that much bigger, it's just the way it's designed, is the traditional pocket knives Ohio River Jack.
Yes, that's
This,
actually on my buy list for
the
sure.
the thick the thick tombstone sort of grip on it, it gives you a lot of hand purchase, whereas the QSP waited until they had made several slip joints for other people, kind of figured out how it all worked, and then put out theirs. So
Yeah,
you know they killed it with it, but they're both phenomenal knives. And I mean
totally agree.
QSP, you get the micarta one, it's what, $68 before
You
any
can
kind
get, I've
of
seen it
discount.
as low as 57.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a denim micarta, and then I have the jig tie one from C. Risner,
Okay.
and they're both nice. I mean, the micarta is nicer if you got a little bigger hand because it's a little fatter,
Yeah.
whereas the jig titanium, that is the scales and the liner at the same time. So obviously, it's a little thinner profile, but still a really nice knife. The walk and talk on those is good too, not just the fit and finish, but they actually they open nicely. They're not easy to close, even if you have your thumb, forward of the pivot point. So it's a well designed knife. I
Yeah,
think they get kudos
you
on that.
can use it as an actual worker and
Yes,
not with the half stop and the heavy pull. The chances of you closing it on yourself, unless you completely slip and manage to turn the knife around backwards and push on the
right.
spine of it while you're trying to cut something, it's
Right.
not going to slip and cut.
You're not going to open that knife, yeah, with most medium cutting tasks that you're doing. I would agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree
I
on that.
actually I want to take my hedgehog because I used to be when I was in the army. I had this thing. I don't really consider it like. I guess it could be part of the knife hobby. The only one I still have left is at my dad's house. But I was big into the restored straight razors, like old
Mhm.
straight razors.
Sure.
And I want to take my hedgehog and try to put a shaving edge on it for like cleaning up my cheeks
It'll
here.
probably take it. I mean,
And
it's a hollow grind to begin with, and it's got a beautifully thin behind the edge blade. So I
yeah,
would imagine you could shave with that knife if you got it a little bit sharper. Sure.
yeah,
I mean, it'll already shave hairs off your arm when you get it. So, but yeah, it's a very cool knife, and I like the fact that you can get a knife like that for around $50 to $70. Right? It's not your Jack Wolf or your Ohio River or what it's definitely an affordably priced knife. If you want a traditional slip joint with a modern design, that's definitely a good place to go.
Do
Okay,
you
so
have
hey, listen. Okay,
I'm sorry, I was going to say, do you have a code over at Blue Creek?
I do not have a Blue Creek code yet. I have a White Mountain Knives code, but not a Blue Creek code. So
Okay, I was going to say, if you don't mind me throwing it out there, I don't take any money from Brian. He tried to pay me, and I was like, I don't want it. But
yeah, I got you.
if you go and you want to buy any one of the, well, Finch knives don't count, but if you go to Blue Creek and you want one of these QSPs, you can knock 10% off with the Beard of Doom at checkout.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
Also, guys, I need to point out one other thing too that's important when it comes to discount codes. You generally won't see most of us reviewers putting discount codes, mentioning discount codes actively in knife reviews. And there's a reason for that, because for a lot of knife manufacturers, they consider that a MAP violation.
mhm.
So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's minimum uh, minimum actual pricing or something like that, I think it's called. So the knife manufacturer said this is the least that we want the knife to be sold for, and the retailer's not really supposed to advertise it less than that price unless there's like a big sale going on through the distributors. So a lot of times you can't actually say, hey, go use my code for this knife. So
Yep.
just so you understand that. But we can tell you that, say for instance, Beard has a code over at Blue Creek. I have a code at White Mountain Knives. Mine is Eionan 10. His is the Beard of Doom. But just so you understand how that works, so we can't always put every code in every with every knife that we talk about. So
Exactly.
just in case you didn't know that, that's how that actually works. So anyway, what I want to do is I want to move on to a couple other things, and then I got to get story time in here before the end of the night because everybody always wants story.
All right, man.
That's what happens. All right, so we're going to move on to a couple other things. I got a couple of pieces of information to put out. First of all, if you don't already know, the Olight store has a special sale that's happening. I believe it starts this evening in a few hours. And if you have an Olight account and you log into it tonight, you will receive a free Pretty Blue i3 EOS, which is a pretty cool little light.
Nice.
But they also have a ton of stuff on sale. So if you're an Olight fan like me and some other people, you might want to go over there and check that out. All you have to do is log in. It'll go into your shopping cart. And the next time you make a purchase, you get that knife for free.
You can actually, to add to that, because I did this during the Christmas sale, you can actually log in. It'll be in your cart, and you can just check out with that cart and pay the $5 shipping.
Yes.
And
Yes,
get
you
that
can do
and,
that.
and get
Olight will
that
let you
free
do that.
gift.
Yes. Yep. But of course, I already saw a couple other things I wanted. So, you know, I'll be
Always.
making a purchase. I'll be making a purchase. So just wanted to mention the Olight sale. Go over there and check that out. Also, the new Olight Rubato is a pretty cool little knife. Aluminum scales, access style lock, 154 cm steel. It's not super big, but it's also very competitively priced. So you might want to check that out too. I think those are on sale right now as well. I want to mention one more time back here on the counter, all the prizes from the holiday celebration. That big pile of stuff back there is all the people who won stuff. It's all boxed up. It's all labeled, packaged. It's going to the post office tomorrow. Sorry, I just ran out of time today. It took me way longer to get all that stuff ready. So if you won something at the holiday live celebration, your stuff's right there. It's going to the post office tomorrow. Okay. What else do I got to cover with you guys? There will be no Saturday Live on January 28th. Why, you ask? Because Mrs. Edge is having her big surgery on January 27th. So there will be no Saturday Live that week. And there might not be a Tuesday Live. It really just depends on how well she recovers. But I will definitely not be having a Saturday Live. I'm going to be spending the first few days after she gets released from the hospital taking care of her. So there won't be a Saturday Live at the end of the month. And then I did have one other thing I wanted to ask you guys. I wanted to ask you before I get to story time, how often, actually, it's not what, it's a how often do you change up your pocket carry? So I'm going to give you an example. Like there's certain people who have knives they love, like Wilby, who is sick, and brother, I hope you get better soon. Also, big shout out to Iggy. Iggy is not feeling well today, So that's why she's not here in the stream. She messaged me earlier and said, "Hey, I've got a migraine, not feeling well, under the weather, and I can't make it tonight." So much love to her. I hope she feels better as well. But like Will B, he always has a Crimson Norseman in his pocket. He
Mhm.
always has a Kaiser Bag Leader XL. He's usually got a tactile turn pen. He's always got like the same stuff pretty much. He'll mix up some of those secondary knives he carries, but those two knives are pretty much always in his pocket. So I'm asking you folks real quick, and just throw it up in chat as we go. How often do you change your carry? Right?
For
How often?
me, man, it's daily, sometimes more than once in a day. You know,
Mhm.
I come into my office, I look at the pile, and I'm like, "Ooh, shiny," and things just start jumping into my pocket.
Correct. Yep. So for me, so here's the deal with me. I have a certain combination of knives and flashlights I carry to work. Like the Opry that I got recently, it's actually a quasi present from one of my daughters. Uh, I've used the heck out of this already. Like every time I have to pop a hubcap off of a golf cart to put air in somebody's tires,
Mm,
I don't have to go look for a screwdriver. It's right here.
nice.
Right? Got a pocket clip, pry bar, wrenches, has T6 and T8 bits on the back of it, does all that good stuff. You can put your bits in the end of here. It has full size bit hole, like the whole deal. So like that's on me all the time. A flashlight is my most used EDC thing. I use one every single day at work, every morning. And I have certain knives that I keep in my pocket for work. But then when I get home, I take those knives out and I put in the knives that I really like to carry, the
Yep.
ones I want to take out to dinner with me, or the ones I want to sit in front of the TV and watch Curse of Oak Island and fidget with for an hour and a half, right? And flip it
I'm going
open
to
and
tell
close,
you the
open and close,
one
open and
thing
close,
that
right?
causes me to change my knives is, like, let's say I'm going out on the motorcycle and I know, like, over the weekend I went to the very first bike fest
Uh-huh.
that happened in Florida. And with it being the very first bike fest, every one percenter club in Florida was there, posturing,
Right.
making it known that they're around. So my thought process was, if something goes down and I need to use something, I don't want to lose an expensive knife. So I grabbed the cheapest things that I had on my desk, and those are
Reliable.
what I
Right.
carry.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Being a content creator, there's times when I have to put a knife in my pocket for that week because I want to review it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like I've never reviewed a knife that I haven't cut with, carried for, and even the Apex knives, we only get them for 10 days. That seems like a lot of time, but it's not,
No, it's not.
right? So with the Apex knives, I want to get at least a couple days carrying that knife. Now, we're not supposed to heavy use them. We're not supposed to really do any real cutting with them, but everybody will cut some cardboard and things like that just to see how the knife pulls through when it's doing a cutting task. But we're not supposed to heavy use those knives. We're not supposed to really beat them up because that's part of, they're being loaned to 15, 16 different uh, people. But for me, I constantly have to rotate all the knives that I'm reviewing in and out of my pocket. So that's a challenge too, because there's days that I'll carry two of the same kind of knife in my pocket, or not two of the same kind of knife, but I'll carry two knives that I wouldn't normally carry because I need to actually carry them and use them and see how I like carrying them. Yeah, again, I think it really depends on the person, but there's been some interesting comments here. Like Mike Reese says, I always have an Open Pro and a Baton 3. Knives change daily. So there you go. So he carries the light and the pen that he likes, but he rotates his knife carry out all the time.
My
David
Open
Iverson's the
Pro,
same as you.
my Open Pro is probably the most expensive cat toy I've ever bought because it's got the laser.
Right? Yeah, making the cats jump all over the place with it.
Uh,
It's true. Yeah. I usually carry the last knife I bought and a conversation knife, and a neck knife. Okay, there you go. So Native says 10 days is not long enough to test a knife. It's not, but that's what we get. Because if you got 15 people signed up, I think there's 16 or 18 people on the list, but not everybody signs up for every knife, usually, unless it's something really cool. But if you think about it, if you got 15 people signed up and they're each given 10 days to review a knife, plus let's say 3 days for shipping in between, if you're the 15th person on the list, the minimum amount of time it's going to take for you to receive that knife is 150 days.
Yeah.
Right? So like I've gotten knives that they've already been had the hell reviewed out of them, and then it finally arrives to me, and I'm like, okay, cool, you know.
Yeah, you get it. It's been run ragged by the time you get
Yeah,
it.
right. Even
Pivots
though they're
falling
not heavy
out.
used,
It's
right?
no
Exactly.
edge.
So so that's the thing. Like, but it's great. I love being on the list. I love like things like the Hedgehog, the QSP Rhino, um, the goat head knives fixed blade that I reviewed recently was absolutely phenomenal, and I had never even heard of that guy. So getting that knife in hand and being able to put that out there, and that video has like 300 hits or something already, that exposed that guy's product to a whole new group of people that probably didn't know anything about him either. And that's the cool part about being on that list, is being able the Nick's knife, the Ridgy Jersey, right, which is going to hopefully come out at the end of this month or in February maybe. Fantastic knife. Didn't even know the guy existed. And now I consider him a friend. I've talked to him a bunch of times. I've had him on the live stream to talk about his knife making. So that's the good part about it. The other part about the Apex list is sometimes you sign up for a knife and you get 2 or 3 of them in at the same time, and they all got to be back in 10 days.
Oh, that's fun.
Right. So I got like, I literally go to work that day with like 4 knives in my pockets because I'm trying to make sure I get time to, carry.
People are looking at you like, hey, man, save some EDC for the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. It's totally true. So, Wildman says, I understand that. Yeah, no, it is. It's not really long enough. And that's why with the Apex knives, I usually tell people it's an Apex knife, and I more present that knife and give my thoughts on it than talk a lot about how it held up, because obviously I don't get a lot of time with those knives. You're more presenting those knives and kind of giving your thoughts on them than getting a chance to use one for a month or two and then putting your review up. That's what I do with all my other knives. I'll actually use the knife for a month, 2, 3, whatever, and then I'll throw my reviews up. But with the Apex knives, you got to turn them around pretty quick. So,
For me, I just pull it out the box. I don't even review knives. I just pull them out the box and say, "Look, it's a knife. It does knife things. Hooray!"
It's slicey. It looks cool. Well, you're right, though. Well, that's again, right? If you don't have to review them, then that makes it easy. When sailing, I always carry my Chinese-made Spyderco knockoff. If I drop it, it's not a disaster. I totally agree.
Truth.
Right? I wouldn't take a Shiroguro off sailing.
That
wouldn't be a good thing.
CPM hit me up when that Shiro dropped for the F3 Aquatic. He's like, yo, you live by the beach and your kid surfs, and this was designed, it was meant to be at the beach. It's got Van Ack steel and blah blah blah. I was like, man, ain't no way in hell I'm taking a Shiro to the beach.
Yeah. Especially not surfing, right?
Right?
That's a lot of money to dump off in the bottom of a sandbar somewhere if you fall off a board.
I can't hold on to a $5 pair of sunglasses at the beach, let alone a Shiro.
True that. All right, guys. So listen, this has been a lot of fun. And of course, you got to see, somebody said if BOD comes on your live stream, he better show up in a onesie. Well, but for one more time, please, for the crowd. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I do not disappoint. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump out of here so you can do your story time. And
yes, sir. But hey, listen, you're welcome back anytime, brother. We'll do this again. I know you and I will both have a lot more knives by the time summer comes. So sometime in the next few months, we'll have to get you back on again, and we'll talk knives again for a while.
Just this week alone is going to be a crazy one. I've got, I think, sans the box cutter that showed up today, I think I have 4 more coming from China that should be arriving any day now. So keep an eye out for those. They're great. If you like the stuff that I show, which is very polarizing most of the time, I've got some wild ones coming. So
Cool. Hey, man,
cool.
variety is the spice of life, man. If we all
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
same kind of knife, the community would be boring.
Hey, Eionan, thanks for having me on, man. It was a blast.
Hey,
And
it's a pleasure, brother. Anytime. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody else does too.
for sure, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you soon, brother. All right. So real quick before I get to story time, I can die now, Michael Morgan says. That's too funny. Before I get to story time, I want to show you guys real quick. I want to go through a few of the Minions Carry Knives things, and then I will give you story time. But let's take a look at some of the knives that were popular this week. So most recent, hey, there's one of mine. Look at that. That's pretty cool. This was old school. This was today's carry. I had the old Kershaw link in olive green and 20 CV. I went with a green theme today. Got the Mrs. Edge, Eionan's Edge coin. Some of you folks actually won those, a limited run on those coins. Let's see what else we got in here that looks good. This is very nice. Zero Bytes 2000 threw this up. I dig it. We got the EMP EDC, the old school style nimble. Rich Kasner here. He said, hope everyone's having a pleasant, peaceful Sunday. He's got a Beard of Doom Hank, petrified fish, some fidget tools, nice watch there, and nice little, looks like a Blue Micarta Spyderco. All right. Well, hold up. Oh, back up there, son. Got to give that one a like. All right. There's another one from Rich. That's a good shot too. I dig that. Paper Tiger. The Medford Smooth Criminal. MKT. Oh, look at that. Little wallet with the Paper Tiger stuff etched into it. Very, very cool. Got to heart that one too. Oh, sharp guy. Yep. You put a dog picture up there. It's fine. You should try to put a knife in the photo somewhere too, but that's okay, man. That one gets an automatic pass because you got a cute looking dog. Here we go. Bobo Schnoggins. Choo Choo the Gnome. Welcome to our patch. Happy fall. Yeah, and he's got a pretty sweet knife in there too. I like that. Oh, there's another one of mine. That was from last week, I believe. That was the Finch Buffalo Tooth and Jig tie and the Ferrum Forge Rolex. Oh, look at that photography, huh? Zero Bytes. Nailing it on that one. Nice. Oh, Rich Kasner with another nice one here. That's that new Kershaw in 154 cm, and then the Kaiser Sheepdog with the blue striped micarta. Very nice. All right, what else we got in here? Any other fine and fuzzy? Scrabble, knife Scrabble. Rich has definitely been on a roll here, posting some stuff. I like it. Looks very good. Oh, this is I already like this, but the Bridgeport 395. Want so bad. Want so bad. So pretty cool. And then let's see what's up here at the top under most popular. A few of these we've already had in here a couple of times, but this looks like a new one, and it is. Bobo Schnoggins, Choo Choo felt like rolling heavy today. Nice. Give that one a like as well. So go check this out, guys. This is definitely this page is definitely becoming very popular. Lots of really cool knives on here. You can throw up anything knife related under Minions Carry Knives hashtag on Instagram. And this is where all you and your friends and myself, this is where all of our knives are going to show up. So really, really cool. And we'll spend more time next week looking through some more knives. You guys out there in the community, get some more knives pictures up there, okay? That's your goal. That's your homework assignment for next week. Doom says amazing dye job on those scales too. I agree. Switch it to newest. Yeah, I was looking at newest first. The top post, that's newest, is actually down here. Where was I? Most recent. I don't know how to make it switch. There's top and there's most recent down here. But yeah, there's a lot of cool new pictures. There's that goat head's knife is right here on the screen. That's that fixed blade. So go check this out, guys. There's a lot of cool pictures. Dawn Ray put up this nice picture of her little neck knife with Mrs. Edge Hank. And there's lots of cool stuff to check out on Minions Carry Knives. I think we're up to like 400 posts or something over there. So give that a look-see when you guys get a hit the wrong button, folks. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I closed the wrong tab. It happens. It happens. So anyway, it's time for story time. Story time, folks. Story time with Eionans. Oh, wait. Yes. Haha. Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you. Before I get to story time. Yes, 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 yes. Hold on. Hold on. There's not a word of the week anymore, guys. There is a word of the month. And the word of the month for this month, in case you missed it on the first live stream, is hope. Okay? So January's word of the month is hope. And if you weren't here for last week's live stream, we're not doing words of the week anymore. I'm going to do word of the month. There will be 12 of those plus some bonus words. So at the end of the year, in order to be in the word of the month contest, like I did in December for the big drawings, you will have to have all 12 of the words, one for each month. If you have the bonus words, which I will release at select times during the year, for instance, probably 4th of July, Halloween, the Marine Corps birthday, maybe Thanksgiving. So there might be a few extra bonus words. Those will be worth extra entries into the drawing in December of 2023 when I do the holiday celebration again next year. If you missed out on the word of the week drawing this year, you're going to want to make sure, and you're like, darn, I can't win those prizes because I didn't have all the words. Well, here's your opportunity. Hope. Hope is the word of the month for January. Okay? So I didn't forget. I said I would mention it on multiple live streams during the month, and you can go back and look, find out what the word of the month is, but you'll need all 12 of them to be entered in the contest at the end of the year. Last year, there were only 16 people who had enough words to be eligible. So your chances of winning last year were very good. I'm hopeful that more of you folks will collect those words this year. And you know there were some good prizes for the people who are in the Word of the Month Club. All right, with that being said, let's move to story time. Grab your pillows, grab your blankets, gather around in a circle, folks, because it's story time with Unky Owens. Since we ran a little longer than I usually go tonight, I'm going to tell you a shorter story, but it's a fun one and it's kind of exciting. Might even raise your heart rate a little bit. You never know. Possible. Possible. That's right. It's story time. And you can bring your bananas with you too, because you know minions love bananas. And so does Eionan and Uncle Gru. All right. Zerobites is in here. We are just talking about you, Zerobites. I just showed some of your knives over on Minions Carry Knives. Beard says, I need to go feed the children before she gets hangry on me. We'll be listening from the other room. Thanks again for having me on, Brother Eionans. Thank you, BOD. Thank you very much for all you do in the community and for spending some time with us and showing off some knives and telling those great stories about the history of how some of them were acquired. Sometimes that's actually better than the knife itself. So and I lost my paper with last week's word. It's not a weekly word, it's a monthly word. So this month's word is hope. Okay. All right. So anyway, yes, grab your onesies, grab your bananas. There you go. I love seeing all these bananas in the stream, guys. I love it. You guys are the best. Seriously. Right? When I finally do get to 1,000 and I can have channel memberships, I'm gonna make little minion emojis. We're gonna have bananas and minions, right? Okay, so anyway, story time, folks. A lot of you guys know that I work at a golf course here in Arizona, in Tucson, where I live. I work at one of the nicer courses, and it is a private course. It is an HOA community, and the course is very highly rated. And I really love what I do there. With that being said, I get up a lot of the time early in the morning. Most of my days this time of year start at about 3:50 to 4 o'clock. And I usually get to work around 5:30, sometimes 6 on a nice my sleep in day is a 6 o'clock start. In the summertime, I'm usually there by 5, which means I get up at like 3:30 to go to work. So a lot of the time, it's dark. Most of the time, it's dark when I get to work. In the summertime, shortly after I get to work, it's not dark, but yeah, it's dark. Which is why a good EDC flashlight, like the Olight i5T or the Baton 3, is beautiful because it's smaller and I can clip them on the bottom of my golf cap in the morning and see what I'm doing. I can get all the stuff unlocked. I can get everything staged. So flashlights are definitely a must-have item for me. Well, on this particular morning that I'm talking about, I'm opening by myself. Sometimes I have a person helping me, but a lot of mornings I'm opening by myself. And I don't have my regular flashlight with me. Forgot to charge it. So instead, I grab an i3T, right? A non-rechargeable flashlight that has a lithium battery in it, right? Disposable lithium battery. And I think, okay, no problem. This will get me through the day. I get to work. I get carts unlocked and down, set up in the station for people to take. I've got the flashlight clipped on my hat. I'm looking around doing stuff, and I get done and I realize I need some more carts. I don't have enough for the day. The closing shift didn't leave me quite enough. So I decide I'm going to make a quick run down to maintenance. Now, at my golf course, unfortunately, I do not have a cart corral, a place to store golf carts overnight when they're charging near the clubhouse. Our maintenance facility is 3/4 of a mile plus by road away from the golf course. So I have to drive down there in a golf cart and pick up a Pro Gator, a big John Deere 4-cylinder turbo diesel powered Gator that pulls all these golf carts back up to the golf course, which means I have to drive through the actual housing neighborhood to get down in the back to maintenance. It's dark, and I have my little i3T, which obviously is not as bright as my i5 or my Baton. And I get in the golf cart and I start heading to maintenance, and I get about a third of the way there, and I realize the golf cart is running out of juice. One of my less dedicated employees forgot to plug it in the night before. So the cart is dying. But I know when I get to the top of this hill, I'm going to take a left and go down the street, and it's almost all downhill to the maintenance yard. So I figure once I turn at the top of the hill, I'm good. I don't need a lot of juice to make it down the hill. I start going down the hill, and remember, it's dark out. Okay. And my flashlight dies. Okay. So now it's dark. I can't really see all that well. The sun is just starting to peek over the mountain range up there where I work. So there's a little teeny bit, just a teeny bit of daylight starting to peek its way in, but not really enough so that I can see anything in great detail. I'm driving down the hill. in a dying golf cart with no flashlight. I see something come out from between the houses and walk out into my side of the road. And as I get closer, I'm like, man, somebody like let their dog off a leash. Somebody like let their like Great Dane or Greyhound or something, like got out of their house and is like out here in the middle of the road. I get about 20 feet from it and I realize it's not a dog. I stop the golf cart. I focus my eyes. And right as I do that, I realize that what I'm maybe less than 15 feet away from now, in the middle of my lane of the road, is a full grown adult mountain lion. Yeah. So now my sphincter has puckered up a tiny bit because I'm like, I'm in a dead golf cart with no flashlight, no way to get away from this thing. And it's right in my path in the road. And here's the scary part about this story. Okay. I'm stopped there for what seems like an eternity is probably a couple seconds, probably like 3 to 5 seconds. But the mountain lion is stopped in the road and it turns its head like this. It goes, and it hisses at me. Needless to say, my heart rate spiked at that moment. I'm like, oh shit, this mountain lion is going to eat my ass. And nobody's even going to know about it for another hour or two because there's not a soul around. I'm the only MFer there that morning, other than the groundskeeping people who are out on the course mowing the holes, right? It looks at me, it hisses at me, and then in one leap, it clears the entire road and lands in the driveway of one of the houses on the other side of the street. The second leap it takes it halfway down between the house and the two houses that it decides to cut between. And now I can see it. It's going straight away from me to the side. The third leap leaps over the people's back wall and the fence for the driving range. And it's gone. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there in a golf cart needing a change of underwear and wondering if I still have enough juice to make it down to maintenance so that I can use the bathroom because now my adrenaline is completely spiked. I know. You say I would have a knife in each hand. But realistically, my best tech syntax and my pry bar and my Swiss Army knife are going to do not a whole lot against a mountain lion who is intent on taking a chunk out of me. Not the best I like commercial. Well, it's not really iLight's fault in that situation. I forgot to put a fresh battery in that flashlight. Now, normally I'd have my rechargeable lights, but like a dumbass, I forgot to charge it. So rather than take a different light that was already charged, I wanted one that clipped on my hat. I could have just taken a different light that didn't clip on my hat and I would have known it was charged. I wanted one that clipped on my hat. I took the i3T, which had a dead battery or had a battery that was almost dead, and it crapped out on me at a chemo. That is why a good EDC flashlight is important. Would have been nice to know that was a mountain lion before I got 15 feet or less away from it in a dead golf cart. And yeah, it was a big deal. So I survived my mountain lion attack, not because I had a great flashlight or anything like that, but because obviously it wasn't really mad enough at me to see if I tasted good. And I probably do because I'm a little chubby. I'm a little chubby in the middle these days, and I'm a little older. Maybe I'm a little tough tasting, but probably would have made a sufficient meal for a mountain lion. But anyway, I can tell you that if a mountain lion is 15 or less feet away from you and turns a fully grown one that looks like a a large dog, and it turns and hisses at you in the dusk darkish hours of the night, you will be scared. Okay, you will be scared. Anyway, let's see. Do mountain lions eat dead things? I don't know about that. I would have peed and fainted. It would have thought I was. I would have thought I was dead. Don says. We should replay the turn, look, and hiss on slow mo. Yes, I'm sure it looked really good. I did that for a fact. Leland says it doesn't take long for a single AA or AAA battery to die, whether fully charged or not. You're correct. You're okay. They prefer giants. Oh, Matt. Yeah, I mean, let me put it this way: if I were riding in the golf cart with Matt, I would have just pushed him out in the road and drove off. And that would be it. That's like when I was a scuba instructor, people would always say, what do you do if you see a shark? I said, well, I'd take out my knife and I'd stab my buddy and then I'd swim really fast. Because I don't really have to be able to swim faster than a shark. I just have to be able to swim faster than the guy that's putting blood in the water. Cougars are very scary. I think it was big. I thought it was like a Great Dane or something. Like when it kind of walked across the road on four legs, I thought somebody's large dog had gotten out of their house. That's what I initially thought. Because it's dark and all I see is like I see something about the size of a large dog walking across into the street. And I think somebody's dog got out. It was a mountain lion. And it made an angry face at me. That was not fun. I don't get to carry a pew pew at work. I can leave it in my truck, locked up in my truck, but I can't carry it at my job. So that's not an option either. Like that would be different. I might be able to defend myself with a firearm, but again, I'm in a residential community. That's not really an option. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, meow. Exactly. Meow. If 130 or 40-pound mountain lion that can clear that kind of ground in 3 strides wants to eat you, you're not getting away. Anyway, folks, I hope that you don't have your own mountain lion encounter. That would be bad. I hope that you've enjoyed the show tonight. Look for more content, reviews. I've been starting to bank those suckers up. Stephen Wallace, what's going on? Your prize is going out tomorrow along with everybody else's. I hope that you guys don't have any mountain lion encounters. I hope that you guys have a good, safe week. I'm looking forward to seeing you all at the next live stream, which I think I might even have one coming up on Saturday. It's possible. Check the schedule. But thanks for coming in tonight. I'm going to go over there and make some tacos for my lovely wife, who's doing well, by the way. She has her surgery on the 27th. She's recuperating very well after chemo. Things are going well, going smoothly. Hopefully they stay that way for the next month or so, and we can get her through that. But guys, thank you for tuning in on a Tuesday night. I love having you all here. I hope you enjoyed Beard of Doom and his onesie and all of his cool knife stories as well. Bananas! I will see you all next week. Stay sharp, everyone. Stay sharp.